Okay guys, so I know I keep beating a dead horse here, but I want to talk about e-biking again because I want to talk about some of the reasons why I don't e-bike, and also some of the reasons why I touched on the other day about why I don't think about buying a full suspension bike and don't think that bike is really necessary for me. So first, about the e-bike. Again, I want to go the direction if I want to get the exercise. You guys, I like to drink beer. I don't drink that much beer. I'll have 1 or 2 beers with a meal or with friends. I rarely go over 3 beers anytime. I just can't stomach that. It makes me too bloated. So I don't drink an amount. I'm not a 12-pack a day or 6-pack a day type person. But I do like a flavorful craft beer, and you've seen all my videos where I'll go out and seek the nice craft beers and go for a craft beer. So I need to exercise so I don't get a huge beer gut, and I already feel like I've got a little bit of a beer gut. So not getting e-bike is also my way of ensuring I'm going to get real strenuous exercise, like today riding my single speed, or other days riding my geared bikes, riding for 100 miles as I do my century rides. All that stuff is something that if I had altered or changed my fleet of bikes and to include an e-bike, I would perhaps not be pushing myself that hard. I would be having issues with trying to decide whether I use my e-bike or my regular bike, and what's more of the draw. More of the draw would be to have the e-bike, right? Because the e-bike would be something that would be an easy fix to go do a ride and have fun, but not put in the work. Earn my turn. That's what I want to do when I ride my bikes. So that's part of the reason I don't want to get an e-bike, because I really feel like I want to earn my turn. And I know the argument that e-bikes you could still work and da-da-da. I don't even want to go into that gray area in my perspective on that. Let's just leave it that for me personally, I want to earn my turn. Now, the other thing about full suspension or buying the latest carbon fiber wonder bike with these latest technology and stability and platforming and high pivot, low pivot, pedals like a dream, even though it's got 160 travel, or having 160 travel, even though you're riding it on mostly hard pack groomed trails. So I just don't personally feel at this point in my life, maybe if I was younger, maybe if I had another perspective about what I wanted to get out of mountain biking, I would go that route. But I feel like I can do everything I want to do on a mountain bike with my hardtails, and they work fine for me. I don't see that. I've never rode a trail and said, yeah, if I had an enduro bike, I would totally nail this trail like so much better and go so much faster, and it would be so much more flowy and all that stuff. I don't think that way. I don't think that fiddling with my suspension and dialing it in just right to get my rebound and my compression set up perfectly for my weight and for my trails is something I want to go into. I started going there years ago. I did have a couple full suspension bikes. I had some really expensive full suspension bikes. I had custom bikes, custom Foes racing bike. I had a custom Titus, and I bought some bikes from friends that were really high-end full suspension bikes, and they did have all that latest technology back then. Obviously things have changed now. Do I want to get into chasing that, you know, going down that rabbit hole? Do I think that having a full suspension bike is going to bring that much ROI for me to justify the, you know, going to the store, searching the perfect full suspension bike, setting that bike up, riding the trails, dialing that bike into those trails I'm riding, choosing to ride that bike over my other bike on certain trails? Do I think that's something that I want to get into? No. And yes, those influencers are going to want to sell you, and those bike companies are going to want to sell you that latest, or that maybe the last year's full suspension bike that was bike of the year and got rated so well, and it climbs like a jackrabbit and descends like a downhill bike. They can do that, and they could coax those people into getting locked into that full suspension thing, and they can continually convince them that yes, you're going to go further, your back's not going to bother you because you're on a full suspension bike. Kind of in the same way they could probably convince you, hey, if you bought an e-bike, you wouldn't have to really get fit to enjoy climbing your bike up the hill and then having something left in a tank for your downhill. You're always going to have something left in the tank when you're on an e-bike. So I guess they can convince you into that e-bike or into that full suspension bike, but what are you getting out of it? What's in it for you? And that's how I'm going to leave it. And I want you guys to think about that. Feel free to leave any comments about why not an e-bike, or why an e-bike, and why not a full suspension, or why a full suspension, when personally I feel I can enjoy the same trails as you guys can ride. Definitely not as fast, especially uphill. On an e-bike you're going to ride faster. On the straight out downhill, though, I could probably ride just as fast as many of you guys, and I'm fine with it. I don't feel that I'm crashing or got knocked off the side of a mountain because I didn't have an e-bike or a full suspension bike. So I will leave it at that. I'll show you this technical part of the climb right here that I do on my single speed, I do on my gravel bike, and I do on my geared hardtail bike. And I don't have an e-bike or a full suspension bike that I'm riding on this trail, and I don't ever plan to. And you guys know the trail. It's probably the most trail videos on my channel out of all trails, and you guys can talk about that. And we used to say, put that in a pipe and smoke it, huh? So I got to get back in shape though. I'm already feeling like I'm getting winded just with that section. So talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Keep the rubber side down and get out there and ride your bike and stay fit for life.